मॉर्निंग स्टूडेंट। मैं ब्रजेश कुमार, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ बॉटनी, जमशेदपुर कोऑपरेटिव कॉलेज। कल मैं स्टार्ट किया था इकोलॉजिकल सक्सेशन, उस पर डिस्कशन कर रहे थे। तो इकोलॉजिकल सक्सेशन में प्लांट सक्सेशन का दो पेरिसेरस और सबसेरस दो क्लासिफिकेशन है। तो पेरिसेरस में हाइड्रोसेरस, पेरिसेरस में हाइड्रोसेरस पर आज डिस्कशन करेंगे। हाइड्रोसेयर में begin in a newly formed pond or a lake. The water is deep in the middle and becomes progressively shallow towards the bank. The various stages and process that lead to the development of climax community in such situation are briefly described below. Pioneer stage. The pioneer are phytoplankton consisting of unicellular and colonial forms of green algae near the water surface. There is no plant life in the bottom mud. The animals here feed on the dead phytoplankton are amoeba, Pyromecium, and Vorticella. The plants and animals mentioned above fall down to the bottom after death. The pond bottom is barren of life. If the phytoplankton growth is very rich, such animals as blue gill fish, sunfish, and small caddis fish may appear. Submerged stage. There are of the lake or pond where water is more than 10 feet in depth in is almost without any flowering plants. Where the water is less than 10 feet deep may be found entirely submerged plants and free floating plants that are not rooted at the bottom. These are represented by Potamogeton pondweed, Hydrilla vallisneria grass, Utricularia, and Janicalia, submerged ranunculus, and many algae like charaphil in the water more or less completely with tanked vegetation. Animals adapted to barren pond bottom cannot exist the changed conditions. Fly species that can creep over submerged vegetation and bull cases from plant material. How appear prominent among the animal population are nymphal stages of dragonflies and crustaceans like Daphnia cyclops. It is the vegetation affects the habitat, the soil particles which were eroded from the shore are floating about in the muddy water. These are caught by the plants and deposited around them at the bottom of the lake. Some plants die. Their remains are converted by bacteria into humus, which also settles down and binds the soft muddy soils. As this process of building the lake bottom proceeds, the water becomes shallow and less fit for the submerged species and more suitable for the new invaders. Third, floating stages. As a result of the processes leading to the siloing of water described in the preceding paragraph, the submerged plants move into deeper water. The area once occupied by the submerged plants is now invalid by a species of floating plants, especially where the water is only 5 to 10 feet in depth. Some plants are rooted at the bottom but have stems or petioles which rise nearly to the top of the water so that their leaves float at the surface. Others are free floating. These plants migrate from shallow water mainly by means of rhizomes. The characteristics rooted plants of this stage are species of Nymphaea Nelumbium, Speciosum ranunculus, Equitalis, and the water-free fern Marsilia. Among the unattached floaters are Lemna, Ecornia, Wolfia, Pistia, and Certophyllum. The broad leaves of many of these plants cut off light from the submerged plants, which, finding the conditions unfavorable, must migrate to deeper water. These plants continue further the process of building up of the lake bottom with the results that the water becomes too shallow and unsuitable for the floating species, which would disappear. Animal life is represented by hydra species, gill breathing snails, frogs, diving beetles, whirling beetles, and other insects which can utilize the under surface of leaf. Larvae of several insects and different types of turtles in water snakes are also present. Re- Fourth, reed swamp stage. The water is now only 2 to 3 feet and at most places less than 1 feet in depth. Invasion now becomes possible for marsh plants such as Tifa, the reed phragmites, carex, and junks. These are intermingled with Rumex, Eclipta, and Sagittaria. These plants are rooted at the bottom and are partly submerged, but their shoots extended well above the water. They cut off light from the floating plants, which now finding the habitat less favorable migrate into deeper water in the wake of submerged plants. These plants make the water still shallower by the settling down of sedimentary material and the deposition of plant humus. The habitat is consequently made unfit for the plants of the reed swamp stage and favorable for the marsh meadow stage. Animal life consists of adult forms of dragonflies, mayflies, and breathing snails. Insects like water scorpion, giant water bugs, and scavenger beetles are present. Annelid worms inhabit the mud bottom. Fishes like the pickerel and bullheads appear. Fifth, marsh meadow stage. The substratum now changes to the marshy soil with water table just at the surface, or the soil may sometimes be covered with 1 is 2 inches of water. The soil may even dry up in summer. Such a habitat is too dry for the plants of the preceding community and is invaded by a species of Polygonum, marsh marigold, and wallflower, and means intermixed with junks, carex, Iliocari, sages, and tall grasses from a meadow. All these react upon the habitat several ways that transpire enormous quantities of water absorbed from the soil and build up the soil by emulating the remains of dead plants and catching water carried and wind-borne soil. Hydrophytes can no longer thrive in such a soil. These are gradually replaced by shrubs and later by trees. Snails are the common animals, and fish and preying birds are excluded. Figure zonation in a pond. Woodland stage. In a most climate, the next stage is woodland consisting of shrubs and small trees like salix, shrubby willowy, populus, cottonwood, and tree willowy. The pioneers of this will be those that can tolerate partial water-logged conditions around their roots. These woody plants react upon the habitat like their predecessors by casting shade and making the soil dry by their vigorous transpiration and catching wind-borne soil and accumulating plant debris. The previous occupants now disappear, being replaced by shade-enduring herbs which grow among the trees and shrubs. Climax forest. As a humus accumulates, bacteria and other microorganisms begin to thrive in the soil, making it richer. Other trees now make their appearance. These react upon the soil under their canopy. The air is humid, but their shade will make conditions unfavorable for the seedling of the pioneer sun-living trees. After a few generations, the pioneers will be replaced by trees of the most tolerant species. Thus, the area once under deep water becomes finally transformed into a forest. The whole forest The whole process of development may be studied about Lake Marginus, where each stage may be seen as a definite zone, as illustrated. It should be remembered that the nature of the climax community will depend upon the climate. A forest community will develop only if the climate is moist. In dry climates, the climax community may be grassland or some other xeric community. ओके थैंक आगे कल ए जीरो शेयर ऑन बार रॉक एंड मेजर ट्रेंड्स इन सक्सेशन और कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ क्लाइमेक्स कम्युनिटीज पर डिस्कशन करेंगे। ओके थैंक यू।